In this video, I would like to talk about the research card. So I remember saying at some point in one of my earlier videos that some of you have probably written research papers in high school or at some other point before this course, and it's very likely that your instructor asked you to make note cards. Okay, note cards are typically on index cards, and on one side of the card you might have the name of the source, the author, the title of the book, all that information, and you might have a quotation, or you might paraphrase something from that book or that source, and then you flip it over, and on the back of the card you write down why it's relevant, how it relates to your thesis, the thesis that you're formulating so far, or just your thoughts about that information from the source. So note cards really are invaluable. So I've kind of taken the concept of note cards and applied that to like a sheet of just a regular sized sheet of paper and broken it down into different categories. Okay, this is all information that will be really important when it comes to doing your research. I've had students tell me that these research cards have helped them a great deal when they're trying to put all their thoughts together. Okay, so I'm going to go through the different parts of the research card and explain to you what I'm wanting from each part. Okay, so let me make this a little bit bigger. Alright, so the first space you want to go to, now first of all let me say I'm hoping that this is what the card looks like when you download it. Alright, it might not look like that when you first open it up. You will definitely have to download it and like save it to your flash drive or your laptop in order for it to look the way it's supposed to look. Alright, so the first part you should complete is this part in green. Okay, now this means you need to have already found a source. Okay, so you find a source that you might be interested in using something from, like maybe you found a really interesting quote, or maybe you found something that you want to quote, or maybe you found something you would like to paraphrase or summarize. So you put the information here that you want to pull from the source, that you think you might in some way end up using in your research paper. You're not really sure right now what you're going to be using and what you won't be using, but this is the whole purpose of this process of research. You're gathering information that you will then at some point later decide whether you want to keep or not. So pull the piece of information from the source. You're going to type it here, alright? And then you tell me, is this a quote, is this a summary, or is this a paraphrase? Okay? So again, you will want to go back and read information in the Prentice Hall Reference Guide about how to summarize without plagiarizing. Right next to that section about summarizing is a section about paraphrasing, how to paraphrase properly, why and when you want to paraphrase, and also the section about quoting properly. Okay? So anyway, you put the information in here, okay, type it. If you're quoting, you must use exact wording, okay? Don't change anything. And you must put quotation marks around the information, double quotation marks, okay? If you're summarizing, then again, you are trying to capture in your own words what this information is saying. Okay, you're not placing your opinion in there. You're just stating what the information is. Okay. Alright, so you can highlight one of these. So you can do that if it's a quote or a summary or a paraphrase. And then the next piece of information you want to move on to is this bottom right corner. My thoughts concerning how this information helps me better understand my topic or answer my questions. Okay, so you want to type a response that explains, you don't want it to just rephrase what is over here. I mean, I can read this and understand what this says. Instead, I want you to explain to me over here why this stuff in green relates to your thesis, okay? Relates to the idea, the conclusion that you're kind of drawing as you're doing research. So remember that you will have a question, like a research question that's guiding your research, okay? And you may or may not have kind of come to a conclusion or a thesis. You might have a tentative thesis, meaning that the thesis is not set in stone, it's changeable. So anyway, you want to explain how this part that you've included in green over here helps you understand your topic better. What does it suggest? What does it imply? What kind of conclusion is it helping you draw? Okay. The next piece of information you want to fill out is the parenthetical citation. All right. And you will want to make sure you refer to the proper pages in the Prentice Hall reference guide to help you fill this out. In fact, you will want to look at the section in the Prentice Hall reference guide called Section 11. There's a purple tab that has an 11 on it, and it says MLA documentation. And if you flip through that section, you will see all kinds of good information, but there is a section over in-text citations, and it's section 70A, and it has a really great chart that gives you examples of how to put in the in-text citation. So an in-text citation typically includes the author's last name and the page number, if there is a page number. Okay, and we can talk about all the possibilities of that. I'll probably make a video and kind of explain some of that, but really probably the best way for you to kind of work through this information is to just kind of dig into that section and just examine what's there and figure, kind of get set in your mind when you use parenthetical citations and when you don't, and how you set them up. Okay. So the next piece of information you should fill out is the complete bibliographical source information. And again, well, let me just explain what I mean by that. I'm really asking for you to put in that space what the source would look like if you put it in your list of works cited at the end of your paper. Okay, so the section you will want to look at to help you set this up begins in 70C, section 70C, called Works Cited. Okay, so it gives you just so many different kinds of possible sources you might have. It goes through books and a variety of books, republished books, second editions, just so many. You might have 2 or more works in the same anthology. There's so many possibilities. So you want to figure out what kind of source you have, and then you want to turn to the proper page to see the example to help you set it up. Okay, I do want you to tell me where the source is found. So if you found it at the Roane State Library, just put RSCC Library. If you found it at your local library, just give me the name of that library. Okay, if you found it online somewhere, like it's a web page, just go ahead and copy and paste the web address in this section. Now, the final piece of information you want to list is in this upper left-hand corner, this blue box. Describe the main idea of the part in green in a few words. So you can take that part first and just kind of describe what's, in a few words, what is this referring to, this part in green? How can you describe that? And you want to try to be succinct, not be overly wordy. And then I want you to tell me whether the information here in green is going to work as a counter argument against your thesis, against your own stance, or as a refutation, which means that it's supporting your position or your stance. Okay, so you will want to tell me that in this blue section. In the next video, I plan to discuss a sample research card and kind of give you a better idea of what that will look like.